Alrighty, thank you everyone for showing up tonight to the Citywide Council for District 75's calendar meeting for March. We are on the 20th of 2024. We are now going to go ahead and start our meeting and call it to order. Haylene, would you please be able to provide a roll call?
Sure. Christy Angel.
Present.
Jamaica Collins. Present. Risa Arias. Andrea Daniels.
Present virtually.
Thank you. Christy Montavon.
Present.
Shanique Butler. Present. John Herman. And Vanessa Bopero. Present. Right, we have 5 members. We do not have quorum.
Alrighty, and seeing that we do not have quorum, in an effort to move forward, what we will do.
I'm sorry, John just came.
Sorry, late.
No worries, this is perfect timing.
John Herman.
That puts us into quorum.
Thank you.
With 4 members present and 2 that count for quorum online, that does bring us into quorum. In addition, we do have Co-President Daniels, who is online with us today as well. Do we have anyone that's willing to be our timekeeper for today? If not, I will try to keep an eye on everything that is going on. And in an effort to move us forward, we will move into our interpreters and give you the floor. Spanish interpretation, you have the floor to give your instructions.
Buenas noches a todos aquellos que quieran una traducción al español simultánea. Por favor, tienen que marcar el siguiente teléfono: 347-966-4114. Después de marcar este teléfono, tienen que poner el código 884 y luego el símbolo de número. Con eso pueden obtener su traducción simultánea. Gracias.
Mandarin interpretation, you now have the floor. Please give your instructions.
晚上好，欢迎大家来参加会议。今天晚上的会议有提供中文普通话的这个翻译。如果您需要中文普通话翻译服务的话，请您拨打电话347-966-4114，然后再输入会议的 ID 是106-792-155井号键，再播报一遍。如果需要中文普通话翻译的家长，请您拨打电话347-966-4114，然后再输入会议的 ID 106-792-155井号键。谢谢。I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Now we will move forward. Council members, you do have the agenda as set before you. Are there any amendments?
I sent it in the email.
If there are no amendments, the agenda is adopted as delivered, and we will go ahead and move forward. With this being in mind, our next action item is let me stop for a moment, excuse me. I don't have the agenda populated in front of me, it just popped away. Our next item is going to be a budget review. As multiple people and different community education councils have been visited this year with the fair student funding and things of that nature, everyone is having a meeting where their budget is being explained to them and how the monies are being used for different students. I realized District 75 was not included in this. So I do want to thank our senior grants officer and Minnie, our District 75 overall head for the budgets and different things of that nature, for being present tonight to be able to guide our council, our parents, and our constituents in regard to how the District 75 budget is created and how we use it. I know that there was a bit of blowback earlier in the year where we thought $97 million was going to be taken from our children and things of that nature. So we are extremely grateful for our financial staff from District 75 being willing to walk us through what we need to know so that we have that understanding. And with that being said, I will give the floor over to Mr. Ismail and or to Minnie. Forgive me, I don't have everyone's last names in front of me, so forgive my imperfection there. If you do have access, you may begin.
Hi, good evening. Welcome to the annual school budget engagement session. My name is Mohab. I'm the Senior Grant Officer. I'm happy to be here with our District 75 team members and other New York City public school team members. The purpose for this, for today's presentation is to review New York City public school budget and allocation formula and review District 75 instructional budget. This presentation reflects our continued approach in how New York City Public Schools is conducting community engagement around our school budgets as it relates to funding formula. Our goal is to increase our transparency in ensuring that you as a critical community stakeholders are made aware of how schools are funded and made aware of the resources available to you to better understand your school budgets. I appreciate joining your meeting today, and I will dive into this presentation. So we're going through the agenda, and today is basically the agenda. Today I'm going to discuss three main topics: an overview of this year overall New York City public schools budget, a detailed explanation of District 75 budget, and a walkthrough of the new web pages created to increase budget transparency. If you have questions during the presentation, please direct them to the chat. If you are in person, please hold your question to the end of the presentation. We will have team members ready to respond to these questions. Questions that we are not able to answer during the presentation will be collected and shared with New York City Public Schools team, who will then respond, and we will share back with this group. Additionally, the intention of this session is to collect public comments on the formula for the upcoming school year. We ask that if you have a specific feedback, that you please feel free to share that feedback with the following email address: budgetpubliccomments@schools.nyc.gov. Our New York City Public School team will take public comments received at this email address into consideration in the coming weeks. Moving to slide 3. And here on the slide 3, where can I find information about my school budget? Basically, I would like to have one final note about the presentation. While I will be providing an overview of our overall New York City Public Schools budget and our district budget, I will not be reviewing individual school budgets. Those are accessible on our public website. This slide shows use the steps to find the school budgets from our New York City Public School website. I will give you a minute to use this information to load your school specific budget if you are interested. So as you can see, there are, those are the, websites that you can use to know your specific school budget. Please note that the pre-K centers and charters do not have budget reports on the DOE website. Moving to slide 4. Where does our funding come from? I'm now going to provide an overview of our overall budget and where the funding comes from. This data is based on the most recent budget included in the mayor's January plan. Our total budget for the 23-24 school year is $39.4 billion, or about $31,250 per student in our system. So as you can see, the pie chart, it's broken down. I will take the first piece, which is New York City. New York City provide most of our funding. For the 23-24 school year, the city contributed about $21 billion, or 53% of our total budget. Most of our city funding comes from what we call city tax levy dollars. City tax levy funds are drawn from local taxes, include property taxes, sales taxes, and personal income taxes. Every year, the mayor proposes the amount of the city tax levy funding we get, and the city council must pass the budget into law before the new fiscal year begins on July 1st. Okay, $14 billion, or 36% of our entire budget come from New York State funding. New York State, our second largest source of funding. Every year, the governor proposes the amount of state funding that we will get, mainly based on the number and the types of the students enrolled in our schools. And then the state legislators must pass this budget into law before new fiscal year begins on May 1st. Funding generally comes from income and corporate taxes, as well as property and sales taxes. Okay, the third funding source is the federal funding, which funds comprise of a total of $44 billion, or 11% of our funding for the school year. The federal government is our third largest source of funding. Every year, Congress proposes a budget, and the president must sign the budget into law in advance of the new fiscal year, which begins on October 1st. Every Student Succeeds Act, ESSA, provides the rules for allocating most of the federal funding we receive. Federal stimulus. Funding is comprised a total of $2 billion citywide. District 75 received about $8 million of stimulus funding for this school year. I can actually share with you the stimulus funding by school. Just give me 1 second. I can share that with you. As you can see, this is the allocation for the stimulus. As you can see, this is the allocation for the stimulus funding program. Where District 75 received $8.6 million in total. And this is the breakdown of number of schools. The grand total, the number of schools is 236, and the break of the program, how is the funding is broken down by program. If you would like to see the breakdown of the stimulus by school, I will scroll down for you. And the allocation for the stimulus funded program is, as you can see here, it's showing broken down by school, how much each school received for the stimulus, for the total of the $8.6 million we discussed. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing now. Oh, okay, I have to go back and share my, okay. Okay, so now we back to the slides, slide 4. It is important to note that the federal stimulus funding sunset at the end of the current fiscal year. Please be advised that the stimulus funding expires at the conclusion of fiscal year 2024. And as of right now, there is no alternate funding identified. New York City Public School continue to advocate for sustainable funding, which means at the end of fiscal year 2024, by June 30, 2024, there is no more stimulus funding. Other federal funding comprise a total of $17 million in the 675. Of that 17 million, 12.8 million is IDEA, and 4.2 million in Title I through 4 funding. These allocation allow District 75 to hire additional paraprofessionals and speech teachers, as well as support translation services and art programs at local district schools. All other funding comprise a less than 1% of citywide funding for this school year. This includes state and local grants such as My Brother's Keeper and Big Apple Awards. Moving to slide 5. So here we're gonna be going through how is New York City Public School budget spent. In the previous slide, we covered an overview of where New York City Public School receives its funding from, and now we will basically shift into how that funding is spent in our schools and across our system. Within our budget, we have mandated costs that must be covered annually, including employee benefits, pensions, and debts, as well as state mandated payments to charter schools, non-public, and contract schools. This pie chart represents the major costs. I will provide a brief explanation of each section. Let's begin with our mandated payment. Okay, so the first one is employee benefits, pension, and debts. This basically is $10.8 billion we pay every year for healthcare and other employee benefits, pension payments for staff, debt payments on loans for school construction and upgrades. Second piece is charters. We allocate 8% or $3 billion for charter schools as mandated by state law. Okay, the third one is non-public and contract schools. Non-public and contract schools payments cover schools and programs that educate New York City students, but are not directly run by New York City DOE. The $2.6 billion includes students with a disability attending specialized high schools or specialized schools, supplemental services to students attending non-public schools. The fourth piece is superintendent slash field offices and central offices combined, comprised approximately 1.2% of our overall budget. The school operation sections pays for non-instructional service that students receive. The $4.8 billion is used to pay for costs including free breakfast and lunch available to all students, bus routes, loan payments on buildings, new construction and renovation. This is similar to mortgage payments. We allocate 2.1 billion to support early childhood, which is birth to 5 across the city. Okay, lastly, the largest portion of our budget is allocated toward K through 12 schools and instruction. We allocate $15.5 billion or 39% of our overall budget annually to support our schools, including general education teachers, guidance counselor, deans, health and school climate initiatives such as gym teachers, Respect for All Week, and climate action days, special education, after school activities, summer school, and other operating expenses. This also includes funding for textbooks, computer materials, and supplies. Now we transition from the citywide view. Let's look at the budget and funding source breakdown for our districts. So going to slide 6, we're going to be discussing District 75. So District 75, 23-24 school budget. The following slide presents you with a high-level overview of how funding in District 75 is spent. From this pie chart, we can see that over 60% of our budget is dedicated to instructional programs and classroom supports. This includes funds for classroom teachers, paraprofessionals, principals, nurses, supplies, equipment, and all other classroom necessities. Additionally, the district received over $783 million for related services therapies. This funds is used to staff personnel such as occupational, physical, and speech therapists, social workers, psychologists, and IEP paraprofessionals. The remaining 3% of our budget is comprised of other federal, state, and local funding. These funds are used to supplement the existing program funded by the city tax levy funding. This can include hiring additional speech teachers and paraprofessionals, expanding our arts program, and providing additional services to our students. Going to slide 7. Who decided how the money is spent at the school level? Once this funding is in place within school budgets, principals are responsible for the funds allocated to schools and have a great deal of flexibility in how they spend the funding. These choices are made in partnership with the school leadership teams. As principals and school leadership team create the school comprehensive educational plan, they identify school-specific instructional needs and priorities and align the school budget to this plan. Principals work with the school leadership team to create the school budget in alignment to the goals and instruction priorities outlined in the comprehensive education plan. District 75 superintendent supervises all principals in our district through this process and must approve all school budgets and their alignment with the school's comprehensive educational plan. Moving to slide 8. How are schools funded in District 75? We will now go over instructional and supplemental support programs and what services the funds are used for. The total budget for the 23-24 school year is approximately $1.6 billion. District 75 funding is funded from an allocation called instructional programs and represents over 60% of the funding the district receives. The instructional program allocation supports instruction for students from kindergarten through age 21. For this school year, this allocation fund classroom teachers, classroom paraprofessional, crisis intervention teachers, classroom coverage, classroom resources such as supplies and equipment. In addition, the district receives a supplemental allocation called supplemental instructional support. The supplemental instructional support allocation provides funding beyond the basic allocation to support classes. This includes flexible funds for per session, supplies, and equipment, school leadership teams, staff transportation reimbursement, and accommodation paraprofessionals. Moving to slide 9. Okay, this slide 9 is showing you the instruction program classroom ratios for District 75. Basically, we have different classes, different structures. So I'm going to be comparing between 12 1-to-1 and 12 1-to-4 elementary school classes. 12 1-to-1, when we say 12 1-to-1 class, we mean 12 students, 1 teacher, 1 paraprofessional in the classroom. When you compare it, compare it against the 12 1-to-4 classes in the elementary school, we mean 12 students in a classroom, 1 teacher, and 4 paraprofessionals. Comparing between 8 1-to-1 and 12 1-to-1 early childhood classes, the 8 1-to-1 has 8 students, 1 teacher, 1 paraprofessional. 12 1-to-1 class has 12 students, 1 teacher, 1 paraprofessionals. This is how the classroom ratios are, is used in District 75. Moving to slide 10. Slide 10, programmatic allocations. We will now go over other allocation categories specific to District 75. Okay, attendance services. Attendance services provide allocations funds for the cost of an attendance teachers and their transportation reimbursement. Behavioral management specialist services provides funding for the cost of behavioral management specialist. Behavioral management specialist is a teaching position allocated to schools to address behavioral challenges with students having social and emotional needs and social behavioral control. Home and hospital allocations. That's provide funding to support students receive home instruction citywide, as well as those students in hospital programs. Project art allocations. Allocation provide funding to support art programs. District coach services allocation. Allocation provide funding to support coaches in District 75. Coaches provide instructional support to schools and school staff in various subjects, such as reading, math, social studies. English language learners. Allocation category provide funding for English as a second language teachers. Okay, moving to slide 11. Okay, now we are basically at, looking at slide 11. More information is available online about District 75 allocation and school budgets. You can find the following online on the New York City Public School Info Hub under reports, financial data, and reports. detailed the information about each and every school budget allocation in the form of a school allocation memoranda or SAMs. A summary of each school total budget along with student and staff counts. Detailed information of each school budget based on the different types of funding schools receive, and detailed information as to how the principal has budgeted for the current year, including the number of staff, positions, and other planned spendings. There is also information about the District 1 to 32 budget allocation formula for student fundings available on these websites. Moving to slide 12. So now we're gonna be looking at the school budget timeline. In February and March, given initial budget estimates of the city and state revenue, New York City Public School Superintendents presents the CEC with the proposed allocation formula for the coming school year. This is the presentation. This is the presentation to present the formula for upcoming school year. March and April, District 75, the placement office determines the number and which types of classes are needed in the upcoming school year per school. The finalized class number drives the district initial allocation. In late spring, New York City Public School will release budget allocations to schools. In June, principal along with the school leadership team propose budgets for the coming year. In July, the superintendent and his team will certify alignment between school budgets and comprehensive educational plans for the coming year. In September, the new school year begins. Moving to slide 13. Okay, now we're going over slide 13, which is improving budget transparency. New school budget at a glance, web pages. Come soon, new web pages improving transparency. In addition to the current web pages detailing each school galaxy allocation and budget summary, a new school budget at a glance bring together data on student enrollment, demographics, budget allocation, and use of funds. The new look also compares the school demographic information to citywide averages. Under K-12 funding for this school, you can see the school budget allocation rolled up into major funding categories. You can also see how each of these shares of the school budgets for this school year, such as instructional programs. Under K-12 spending for this school year, you can see the budget summary rolled up into spending categories: classroom teachers, other salaries, employee benefits, and non-salaries known as OTPS, generally supplies, material, books, etc. Moving to slide 14, future changes and feedback. All public comments will be reviewed by New York City Public Schools teams. Public questions and comments related to the Fair Student Funding Formula will be posted on the Panel for Educational Policy, PEP, webpage. Analysis and response of each relevant question and comment will be available for review on the Fair Student Funding website in advance of the April 17 vote. Comments and questions may be directed to the following email address or phone number by April 16. As you can see, the email address is listed on the slide as well as the phone number. I thank you tremendously for your time and attention today. Thank you for sharing your, your questions in the chat for this presentation. We will be gathering we will gather the unanswered questions and share back responses within few days. If you have any additional questions, I can support in answering. So at this time, we're gonna be open for questions. Thank you so much.
Mohab, at this time, there are no questions in the chat. Oh, someone just put something in. Thank you so much for this presentation. Can the council please also receive a copy of the slides?
Yes, we will provide the copy of the slides. Absolutely.
This is really great information. I'll be honest for my self, I had no idea how this was formulated. So thank you, Ismail. Thank you, Minnie, for even being willing to break this down for us and for council members. Do we have any questions currently in regard to what has been presented to us? Mo, is there a way, forgive me if I've missed it. I know when we had spoke prior to this presentation, you were breaking down how certain monies were given to schools based on 12 to 1 to 1, 10 to 1 to 1, 8 to 1 to 1, and student ratios. Did you go over that aspect and I missed it? Or could you kind of glance over that really quickly again?
I can explain that. So
you,
District 75 ratios like 12 to 1 to 1. Let me put my camera on so you can see me.
We're still sharing. Can we pull down the share item so that Minnie may be able to speak and we can see her, please?
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
unless you need to keep the questions up, I don't want to change the move of the flow right now. Go ahead, Minnie.
Okay, so so District 75 are funded based on the type of classes that we have. So alternate assessment and standardized assessment. So regardless of the ratio, whether it's an 8 to 1 to 1 or a 12 to 1 to 1, if it's a standardized, they would get the same funding. So if it's a 12 to 1 to 1, one teacher, one para. If it's a 12 to 1 to 4, it's one teacher, 4 paras. If it's a standardized class, they would get a crisis intervention teacher, 0.07 per class. So unlike general ed schools, D75 classes are funded based on the number of classes and the type of classes based on assessment type.
So Minnie, quick question. Based on capacity, utilization, classes, are we affected if we don't have a lot of classes in a school building, or if we do? How does that affect the budget, seeing that we're affected by classes that we do have available?
Well, our classes are based on the number of students. So if you have a 6 to 1 to 1 class, you're funded for that one teacher, for coverage, and the para. So depending on the number of students at that school, they're funded. But unlike general ed schools, District 75 classes can be open and closed until March. As new kids come in, classes are opened. As kids leave, or if students don't show up, say we projected 10 classes, and we only have students for 8 classes, then we need to close 2 classes. So based on the number of students, the budget office makes sure that we are funded appropriately for the type of classes that we have and the number of students that we have.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to open the floor up back to any council members that may be present. Do you have any additional questions for our senior grants officer or for Minnie at this time? Will the deck be available? I'm sorry, Vanessa. Will the deck be available for us to share out and for the council members to have?
Yes.
Okay.
We will share it. We will share it later on. Yes.
Thank you so much, Ismail. Vanessa, you have the floor.
I said, who makes up the school leadership teams? Like who makes it up? Is it principals, vice principals? Are any parents included in the school leadership teams?
May I field that?
Yes, Ray, please.
It's a simple enough answer for me. Thank you. The teams are made up of both parents, parent leaders, and elected PTA member. Excuse me. Let me rephrase. Make sure I say this clearly. The PA elects its parent members onto the SLT, and the staff do the same, depending on the different constituent groups they may have. They decide how big that team is going to be, with a minimum of 10 people. The way I always explain it to keep things simple is if you have a 10-member team, cut it in half. 5 of those people should be staff, and 5 of those people should be parents. Now, that being said, on the staff side, there's 2 seats already that are taken by virtue of their title, which is the principal and the UFT chapter chair. On the remaining 3 seats in my 10 people example will be up for elections, right, from their constituent groups in the schools. On the parent side, the PA president is automatically on the SLT, so that leaves 4 seats in my example of 10 people, and the PA elects those members onto SLT. Is that okay? Clear?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question. 33% of the budget is going to the services for our kids, special speech, OT, and PT. We are short those related services and teachers, so shouldn't most of the budget be advocated for hiring more just so our kids can get the services?
Were we able to hear the question for Councilmember Butler, or do we need to repeat? Councilmember Butler, can you repeat the question, please?
Are they there? I was saying that 33% of the budget is for the speech, OT, and PT. We're short teachers, so I'm asking, is most of that budget going towards hiring teachers? Should we increase that budget, you know, for these services for our kids?
Does anyone from the district or from the senior grants officer want to respond to that question? Or is there a way that we may be able to answer that question if it's not now, that we can answer it offline to make sure that council members and parents have the information?
We can get that answer to you. We can check with related service office and get back to you on that. We do try to provide the services that are mandated for the students. And if they're not able to get them, I know there's a contract out. But in terms of the bulk of the money, they go for classroom staff. But one-to-one paraprofessionals, speech providers, OTs, PTs, that money is also spent to provide services to our students.
Okay, thank you, Minnie. We will circle back with you and Ismail to make sure that we get the deck and the information that council members may need, and that we conclude or close the loop on any questions that parent members or council members may have. We do thank you for the presentation and for following up with us afterwards to make sure that we do have the deck. So thank you for your time today. Council members, we will, if there are no further questions, we will go ahead and move down to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of minutes. The minutes have been distributed. Are there any corrections that need to be added to the minutes currently? Hearing none, we will go ahead and approve the minutes as distributed, with room for any corrections after the meeting if need be. Moving on to our next item.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Mo. Thank you so much, Minnie.
Okay.
Good night.
Take care. Bye-bye. Have a good night.
Bye. You too.
Christy, I'm sorry, don't y'all need a vote on it? You don't need a vote?
No, we do not need a vote.
You don't? Okay.
No. For the next part, we're going to move on to the report of the president and co-president. I'll go ahead and move into that briefly, and then I will give the floor over to Co-President Daniels and to Vice President Montalban. What I would like to advise currently in some of the backup stuff, give me 1 second. Forgive me, had a little bit of YouTube going on in the background, wanting to make sure we didn't have that disrupt us. So as we all may know, our Chancellor's Town Hall was supposed to be on March 18th, which was this past Monday. In transparency, the Chancellor did have a scheduling conflict, and we were asked to cancel and reschedule our town hall as of last Thursday, 2 days before the event. We were given additional dates, and the council has chosen to move our town hall to same location, Spruce Street, on May 20th. We will be making sure to additionally send that out on social media, our website. Learning Times and our FACE representatives has already helped us in getting that language out to different constituents, to parents, so that they do understand that we have been forced to move into a different date. We will have an update about our legislative breakfast that is coming up on the 22nd, which is this Friday. We will give that floor to Chair Butler shortly. We do want to thank everyone who attended our district PTA and stakeholders meeting this month. I will give the floor over to Co-President Daniels and to Vice President Montalban, who were both present and spoke at the event and can give us updates about what is going on. The district will also be able to piggyback on that as well when they give their updates. Additionally, unless there is some level of change, on March 26th, we will be having a meeting for our District 75 representatives to go over roles and responsibilities, because we do understand the level of assistance that you do need to continue to do the job that you were voted in for. And we do want to make sure that you are supported, that you know the players that are within District 75, know how to communicate, know how to escalate, and that you feel supported in what you're doing. Additionally, we want to apologize. Our annual survey went out, but the links were not accessible, and forgive us, human error happens sometimes, but we will make sure that those surveys do go out again on tomorrow, because we have engaged our annual report writer, who is about 4 pages in, at least at minimum, in our annual report. The district has been extremely collaborative in giving us data. We do have a small portion of data that we still do need in order to complete that portion to continue to let the writer move on. We will have a meeting possibly before the end of March, first week of April. Additionally, Co-President Daniels and I did have a chance to speak with Deputy Chancellor Kenita Lloyd. And I want to be transparent in the items that we uplifted to the Chancellor. Currently, our council has seen that there is additional need for trainings for safety officers and directors where District 75 schools are located. We have been asked to look into model schools with respect to how safety agents are trained, and we would also need to visit those schools. So council members, if you have, and also let's just keep this very wide for the people who are here and our stakeholders, if you know any schools that are really excellent in regard to having schools within a school, our children, the safety agents are very sensitive and understand what's going on with our children, and they are a model school, we would love to use them as an example to present how our children should be treated within school buildings. In regard to our District 75 representatives, the following was uplifted to us. Our District 75 representatives have been denied access to school buildings and walkthroughs. They have been seen as security threats. They have been considered trespassing. And there has been a lack of access to safety meetings. And we have lifted it up that our safety meetings need to be expanded so parents can understand that they do have access to those meetings, they may go, etc. In regard to digital equity, we do know we have the snow day, things of that interest. Our district is doing very well in trying to make sure we round out any level of issues. We do want to make sure that our children that are nonverbal still have accessibility and that they're able to participate when we are having these online classes. Additionally, we want to make sure that our parent representatives are not relegated and that they're not ignored. These are 32 new seats, so we want to really strenuously make sure that they have what they need and they are able to move within the spaces that they are legally allowed to. Parent advocacy. Many of you may not know, currently our council is not working with our president's council, unfortunately. We are looking into trying to mend that situation so that we may continue to move forward in a collaborative effort that is underway. So we are definitely holding the DOE accountable to make sure that democratic structures are still upheld in the means that they should be for our DLTs, SLTs, President's Council, CECs, and CCECs. Additionally, we did ask for support in the way of district hospital and home instruction. As we do know, there is no representation for that population. We do have seats 1 through 32, but we do not have representation for homeschools or for home instruction. We have asked for help when it comes to the open meetings law. As you know, we do have the expiration on July 1st. In regard to being able to hold hybrid meetings and the accessibilities that are allowed to us as council members. So we're currently trying to work with legislators to make sure that we can lobby that we can move accessibly for us as council members because we are parents, and that we can still remain accessible to parents, but also make sure that we can do the work that we need to do without too many stringent guidelines in regard to how we get that work done. We are going to present the resolutions that we do have and that we've created and voted on. We want to present our busing issues. We did speak about, as Chair Legislative Butler spoke about, the shortages in paraprofessionals and OT and PT. So we will be lifting that up in regard to trainings and shortages. We really are trying to keep an eye on our nonverbal children as we have paraprofessionals who are working with them. We want to make sure that they know what they are doing. We want to make sure that they are not alone when they are changing our children, working with our children, and they know expressly what is needed from them. And there's a level that we've heard from our parents and as well as our representative that there is a level of training that needs to be done again. Additionally, we have been speaking to parents in regard to dyslexia, dysgraphia, as we move into reading and teaching our children how to read and things of that nature. We want to make sure that we don't miss any of our children because, as you know, a lot of people think in the box, our children are outside of the box. So we have to make sure that we encompass every single area and think about our children. Additionally, we are working on completing our parent empowerment conference that will be on Saturday, April 13th. And council members, I do want to send out a level of an intake to see what your availability is, what your skills are, where you would like to show up in our council, because we do want to support you in that manner, in the manner that you can show up. Additionally, I will be sending out an email for the intake process. We have a lot of parents who need a lot of help, via busing, via IEPs, things of that nature. We want to make sure that you guys feel okay and also suited to do the work with the intake as it comes along. We do have vacancies on our council. The deadline was yesterday, so we will be looking to do interviews within a week or two. Unfortunately, we only have about 1 or 2 people who have submitted. If the council would like to extend the deadline, please do let me know at the end of this update. As far as joint public hearings, Haleen has been able to send those out. We do want council members to review them. If you are not able to attend, it's completely okay. If you are able to attend, we would love you to be able to attend, show up, and be a part. Additionally, we do have a poetry event that's coming up on April 4th from 10 to 1 p.m. at Baruch College for students and invited parent leaders. I am sure the district will piggyback on that. It's for District 75 high schools to participate in the poetry exhibition as authors. We will celebrate their writing achievements by raising their voices to share poems and films to empower them. I believe Nora or Sasha may have more information about that coming up shortly. Thank you again to our district for supporting us. There have been a lot of different items that have been happening with family members, so we do appreciate your escalation and your collaboration. With that being said, I will go ahead and pass the floor over to Co-President Daniels and then to Vice President Montalban. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So my update, well, first of all, I wanted to just say in regard to the situation with President's Council that we may not be working with them no more possibly. I did try to reach out for everyone for help at a higher level. Like she said, we spoke to Deputy Superintendent Miss Kenita Lloyd. And I also was told by FACE that the individuals involved, that even though I requested a mediation, at this time my request was denied. And they said they cannot force the individuals to do no mediation. So that's why right now there's no resolution currently in reference to what's even going on with President's Council and this council. Why is everything becoming separated when we always did things together, certain things? So currently I have no resolution for that. Like they said, if the parties agree to eventually do a mediation, then they'll be happy to step in face. But until then, basically, we can't do much about it. So that's really like messed up, because we're supposed to be here for the kids. It's about the kids. And I just feel bad that it really has to get to this point that I guess some parent leaders, instead of trying to have parents empowered, they trying to be on a power trip instead. And I don't operate like that. I like to work with everybody as a team. If I have difficulty with someone, I always agree to disagree and still get the work done, okay? I'm not here for all that. And I know my council members, a lot of you or all of you ain't here for that either. We're here for the work, and we're gonna keep our focus on that, whether President Council decides to work with us or not in the future. This all came about because we were not invited to the legislative breakfast that they held about a week ago, I believe that was. And ever since then, I didn't send emails everywhere, even to you council members, to let y'all know what was going on so that everyone would be aware. It's really no resolution right now. But I'm going to pray on this, and whatever works, works, whatever don't. And I'm just going to continue to do the work along with you guys, whether President's Council choose to work with CCD75 Council or not. We have a job to do, even though we don't get paid for it technically, but our parents did vote us in, and I take that very seriously, that regardless of what, we're gonna move forward and do everything we need to do for this council. So with that being said, I'm gonna move forward to the next topic. So also in regard to part of what was going on, minus the legislative breakfast, we have not been getting notices from President's Council, not even in the council email or nothing like that, because Co-President Christy Angel been checking. We have not been getting no President Council notices for months. I have not been really getting notification of DLT, but all that's about, I already got the President's Council notice, I believe today, I think somewhere in my email I will share with you guys if you did not receive it. I know it also went out to all the parent coordinators today in every school. So every parent should really be receiving it by now, and the PTAs and everyone who is designated to go. This meeting this time I heard is supposed to be virtual this time for President's Council, but normally their meetings are hybrid, just like all the meetings in DLT is hybrid, as per bylaws when we revised the bylaws in DLT about 2 months ago, I believe that was. As for DLT report, I didn't get to go. I went to the meeting this month. Last month I missed it because I had last minute notification of the meeting, and I was gonna go in person, but I was told that morning, so it was a bit too late for me to go because I was already at a doctor's appointment instead of being at DLT, because I wasn't aware of it at least a couple of days sooner than I should have been notified as. This time I did go to DLT, and there was some issues with the Wi-Fi, I think, in the district office building that day. So for that one day, we all had to go virtual. But normally DLT is hybrid, where a certain amount of people have to be in person and have quorum to conduct business, just like all the council meeting. And then certain people could be on virtual. But still on DLT to conduct business, we have to have quorum in person. Okay? So those things are getting fixed when it comes to President's Council, like getting the notices out to me or to the council members and getting it out to me, because I sit on DLT as the CCD75 council rep. I have to attend that meeting every month, and it'll be my choice to go in person or virtual, but I need to know in a timely manner. So all that was already set straight. I already got Ray Velez taking care of that part for me, and Christina Melendez had promised me the same thing, and now it's happening in regards to that piece. Also, my busing committee, the next meeting is going to be March 25th. That's the next meeting date. I believe it's going to be, I don't have the flyer in front of me right now, but I think it's 6 or 6:30 in the evening, if I'm correct. Co-president Christy Angel, jump in if I'm incorrect about that. What else? I feel real strongly. I just want to say this, and I'm gonna let us go to the next thing, because Shanique got to discuss, and Christy Montavon, the vice president, she got to say some things, and then Miss Shanique Butler is gonna say some things in regard to the legislative stuff and committee, the stuff she's working on. But I just want to state for the council that I really feel strongly when I feel like we're being disrespected, and this happened twice in 1 week. Okay, according to what I have been through. First with the legislative breakfast, I felt like that was disrespectful, that no one on my council was invited, not even the co-presidents. And also a D75 parent was also turned away at the door. This is not how we're supposed to operate. But I'm not going to move like those people moved. And I know they will come to legislative breakfast probably on Friday, those two individuals. I'm not going to move how they move, but I'm going to move accordingly to how we was treated. That's what I'm going to say about that, okay? Because I'm not going to allow nobody to disrespect me or our council. I defended my council to the fullest, me and Christy Angel, when we spoke to Deputy Superintendent Kenita Lloyd and all the face representatives. Jesse Mohiga was on the call, Christina Melendez. We had quite a few people on that call. And in regards to quite a few things. We really need to start our safety committee. There's a lot of safety issues in certain schools in District 75. We really need to really know what's going on in our schools, and we need to rectify some of these safety issues, because I cannot have parents leaving their kids home because they're afraid something gonna happen to the kid in school and things of that nature. So that's about it for my report. Legislative breakfast, I will be there in attendance early to help set up. I believe the thing says 7:30 or 8 o'clock to be there. I will be there around that time. For everyone's record, I will be bringing my daughter Jada Vasquez because it is a half a day for visual arts. P811X is off-site. I have parent-teacher conferences tomorrow and Friday. And Friday's a half a day, so I can't send her to school. She got to be with me. So just to make sure that Jada Vasquez's name goes on the list, so it won't be no issues when I bring her in. That's about it. I will let Vice President Christy Montavon go next, and then she will let, I guess, Shanique Butler or any other council member go next. Thank you.
If I can piggyback one moment shortly, thank you, Co-President Daniels. We have spoken with Risa Arias, and we are going to nominate her to be your co-chair for safety. I know that we did speak recently in regard to you and your daughter going to pre-travel training, and this was an item that we wanted to lift up from last year for our students who are not able to be travel trained, so that we have some level of support for them and their parents, and that will be what our first safety meeting will be leading into. Additionally, if you look into the chat, the CCD75 Outreach Committee, busing committee is going to be working on the busing app. We will walk our parents through how to use VIA, how to sign up for NICSA, and any other levels of consideration that they may be having in difficulties in using the app. With that being said, I will go back and give the floor over to Vice President Montauban.
Thank you for all of those updates. I just wanted to take a minute and speak about the event that we had attended, myself and Andrea. It was a really great workshop for PA executive boards, their principals or an administrative member, and parent coordinators. And it was a really nice event. A lot of really good training and collaboration with all of the schools. So it was really nice to be at that event. And I thank the district for putting that together. A few issues I want to elevate going on. I just have like a lot of concerns about Summer Rising. I know the application went out and it's closing in 5 days, but I can't speak to exactly what's going on in all the boroughs, but just looking at my own application for my child, there are no District 75 schools with Summer Rising locations on Staten Island. I'm not sure if that's across the other boroughs too, and I'm not sure why that is. For the last few years, my daughter's school had an excellent District 75 program every summer, and it was great. And now this year, there's no option. There's all these sites, and I have no idea. I mean, they're being run by UAU and community-based organizations, which is great. But like, realistically, are these community-based organizations going to be able to support our District 75 children based on what has happened over the last couple of years? I don't have a lot of faith in that. There's a lot of concern from parents. I don't know why this happened. I don't know what the story is, but it seems like our children are once again kind of being excluded from the Summer Rising process, and it's really, really upsetting. So I just really want to elevate that issue. And then some other issues that are going on. Again, there are a lot of issues with placement and seats. I'm having a lot of parents going into middle school in particular. There's a lot of fallout from the extending of the age to 22, you know, which is great for our children who are being able to stay an extra year if needed. But there was not enough seats for if we have students staying and then students can't rise up. So there's a lot of placement issues going on and a lot of lack of seats, it seems like, as well. So those are just some issues that I wanted to elevate.
Thank you so much, Vice President Montauban. We will go ahead and pass the floor over to Chair Butler to give us an update about the Legislative Committee and breakfast.
Good evening. This Friday is the legislative breakfast. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me now? Yes, okay. I'm gonna need all council members who can attend early to be on deck. We're gonna need your help. We have a lot of work to do in the morning. I will be here probably at 7 o'clock, but I will be here. And, I really need your support and your help with this if y'all can come out early. Also, I just wanna thank everybody who accepted our invitation, and it's coming, and I have to say thank you to my council members who helped me with the calls and everything, because I've been going through something with my daughters, so I really appreciate you, you know, Christy, Andrea, Risa, you came through at the last minute, yeah, and Miss Christie, she just was my little backbone right there. Miss Mon- Yeah, y'all really helped me and I really appreciate it. It's my first one and I'm really trying to make sure everything goes perfect. We did get some feedback from some senators and some council people as well as some assembly people. Anybody who didn't get an invitation, you need to reach out to us as soon as possible. We need to finalize our list by tomorrow. And, I think that's basically it. Any other questions, just feel free to text message me, but I'm just gonna say thank you to all my council members for helping me. And let's make this the best breakfast that we have. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chair Butler. You know, we always have your back. We are a family. We are links and chains to make sure that we get this work done. So we do it together. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it to the other side of our together, which will be our district. And I'm going to give it over to Superintendent. Give me one moment before I transfer it over. Co-President Daniels, you have something that you'd like to say?
Yes, I just wanted to let you guys know this week I had a death in my family. So in about a week or two, I should be going to a funeral. It might not fall into the council meetings like the regular ones, but it might fall into something else. I don't know what day this funeral is, but they're preparing for it now since Monday. So I lost my aunt, so I'm going through that. Also, I think I told you guys my father's gonna be having a surgery. That surgery as of today is scheduled for April 22nd, and I have to be there. Just want to just keep that in mind and note it.
Thank you for uplifting that, Andrew. We are so sorry about your loss. I can't even minimize that. However you need us to support you, please let us know, and we'll continue to keep you in our prayers. One last thing before I do give it over to Superintendent Kettler. We did have a school visit that Councilmember Butler did. And it was such a great experience that I wanted her to be able to speak to that really briefly before we give the floor over to the district and to Superintendent Kettler. Councilmember Butler, the floor is yours.
Okay. I went to P138M, the main location. When I say it was just an awesome experience, the principal was there, she had her vice principals there from the other locations. And they had a binder for me with all the information we asked for. They took me to the classes, they let me meet the students. Everything in that school is so decorative and everything, which I kind of wish the parents had open schools so they could see what their kids do. I found that, their school was very open, and she even said I can visit her 10 sites, because that school has 10 sites. I just wanna applaud them, what they doing over there, because it looks like they're very helping their parents and their kids, their parent coordinator, everybody is just on point in that building. I was overwhelmed. I kind of went to that school, but I was overwhelmed, so I just wanna big up that P138 and the principal Elise and her staff.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Butler. For all of our council members, I do want you to be aware of two things. One, If you do want to do a school visit, it cannot be your child's school. But just let us know which school you would like to visit. We will uplift that to the district. A member of the district can support you as you do the visit. We will give you the data. We will give you the school visit forms. We are so very open to collaboratively making these relationships and showing that we are here to support in many different manners with our schools. So this will not be a level where it's like, we want to attack you and we want to know what's wrong. We want to know how we can help. And we want to see what great things you guys have going on and make sure that we have the data and things to continue to support you. So thank you, Chair Butler, for going to any schools. Again, council members, if you do want to visit any schools, we are quarterly updating the district so that they are abreast of what we are doing. Feel free to email the council and Haleen or reach out to her in that manner. Secondarily, our office, 400 First Avenue, is available for all of you. Anyone who wants to work out of the office to assist Haleen in any of the heavy lifting that we have to do. You are always available and to go to the office. You can sign in, let us know that you were there. Actually, that's actually prerequisite, sign in, etc. We have a library, we have books that you can check out, we have resources, and of course we have Haleen, so you can familiarize yourself in any manner that you would like to. You do not need to reach out to Andrea or myself to get permission. You can simply set it up and or go and show up. We are on the 7th floor. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass the floor over to our district superintendent, Kettler-Louisant. Thank you.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Miss Angel. Thank you for creating that space for me. And thank you to each and every member of the council for welcoming us in this space. And we are totally grateful. Ms. Butler, I am really not surprised of the experience you have had at 138, and I am sure you would have had a similar great experience at any one of our schools. And I know you are parents of students in District 75 schools, and I know you know that we are not hiding anything. The council is invited, as Ms. Angel Co-President Angel just stated. You are invited anytime, any place in District 75. The council is always welcome. Please let us know so we can arrange any school you want to visit. That school will be open to you. Ms. Danielle, please allow me and District 75 to, present your condolences for the loss you have suffered. And we wish also your father well as he's going to this procedure. So we will keep you in our thought and prayers. Today is a very busy day in District 75 this morning, and I'm in from the morning until almost 2 o'clock. We were at the Museum of Natural History in Manhattan to hold our 8th annual STEM Fair. If you miss it, you have missed a lot. I will tell you, we were very, very impressed with the quality of the scientific projects and experiments that our students have conducted and have, shared with the public, with us, with fellow students, with other staff from other schools. And they were able to speak of their project, of scientific experiment they have conducted, research they have made just to complete their project. And it was right there, I believe, in the, I don't know if they call it under the sea room but a very large room. We used to be at the Intrepid, but this year we switched to the Museum of Natural History, and it was such a great decision because we had much more space for all our parents that were there, school staff. We had more than, I would say more than 40 schools were represented, and we were so pleased to have and see so many people there. And so this was really another successful event in District 75. And we want to say thank you to everyone here that has contributed to the success of this event. But we're not resting on our laurel for the day. Tomorrow, we will be back at it again because we are reopening our little coffee shop that is on the second floor. I know many of you have been there and you know what the little coffee shop is about. This is really a place where we are offering different pathway to our students, and we are really helping them acquire a lot of vocational and employability skills. So tomorrow we will have in addition to you, our parents who are really our priority guests, we also will have some of the people that we have invited. For example, Commissioner Curry will be there. She is the mayor's office for people with disability. She is the commissioner, and we will also have the executive director for the mayor's office for urban agriculture. We will have our principals there, of course. Many of them are invited and will be there. And we are hoping that you will be able to join us. But if you can't, we understand. But we will love to see you at some time visiting this space where our children are really preparing for a life beyond District 75. Many of our children there, our students there, will be making the transition from that space directly to full-time employment. And that's why we would love to have you there. And we want to say thank you to our principal that have supported us by sending some of their students to us there. And so experiences like that, opportunities like that, we need to expand them for our students and to make sure we are doing everything that we can to help them be successful in their life after District 75. We are continuing our Journey to Independence series. You know, during the pandemic, we had budget some time to really to meet with our students and families just to impart travel training skills to our students. We are continuing this work because we understand that travel training is an important skill and for our students to have to navigate the world, to navigate their neighborhood, and being able to make it from point A to point B, coming to school on their own. And so whoever can benefit from that, we want to make sure we are there affording them that opportunity and that knowledge. On Wednesday, May 27, many District 75 schools will be attending my sister's keeper on conference in the Bronx. We don't want it to be only my brother's keeper. Now there is also my sister's keeper to make sure we are not only engaging with our boys, but we are also engaging with our young ladies as well. And so nobody will be on the sideline. We want to make sure both group of students are engaged, they participate, and all families can benefit from like the agenda and the presentation, and also the resources that we will be having there to share with students and families. I am proud to tell you on March 12th, we had more than 30 superintendents across the city spending what we call a day in District 75 schools. And I need you to pay attention to this one. We're not talking about Kettler Lewis and Superintendent Lewis and only. We're talking about District 8, District 10, District 5, District 2, all the superintendent in New York City, except high school superintendent that were there. They spent time and they visited 3 of our schools. 753K in Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn, 372K in downtown Brooklyn as well, around Park Slope. And they also visited 226M in Manhattan, downtown Manhattan, and also 94M. I have to tell you, this was one of my proudest days in District 75. The feedback we have received from those superintendents, from the chancellor's team, from deputy chancellors, was really overwhelming. They spoke so much about what they have witnessed in our school, our children participating in HMH, in New York City Read, social emotional learning, the plethora of support and intervention we are helping them with. We providing them with additional support so we can enhance their access to the different curricula. They were so pleased that they will be collaborating with us, sending some of their staff in District 75 to learn about those great practices that they have learned. And so I know sometimes you hear A, B, C, D, but here we are, all superintendents in New York City. They were in our schools. They were learning. They were appreciating what they have seen. And now they want to send some of their staff to really collaborate with our staff. And so there can be mutual learning. That's why I am saying to you, whenever you want to visit a school in District 75, we will be more than happy to host you. We will be more than happy to open your doors. And what we are asking in return is that you become our ambassadors to tell people about the great things, the great practices that you see there, like you have witnessed, Miss Butler, and you have presented here. And so people can know that we are about the business of children, and we are doing great work. We are doing everything we can to make sure the children that are entrusted into our care receive quality education. On Monday, March 11, I was in Brooklyn, and I was at Principal Barbara Tremblay's school, 721K. Out of all schools in New York City, I want you to hear me now. Out of more than 1,500 schools in New York City, the chancellor and the team here at Central, they have chosen to open Civics for All week at 721K, a District 75 school in Brooklyn. There was a big event there. The chancellor was there. A lot of dignitaries were there as well, elected officials, and your humble servant was also there. And it was such a powerful morning to go in the, you move from the auditorium going into the gymnasium to hear our students sitting down at table, engaging with the chancellor, with other invited guests, talking about voting right and activism. This is really the kind of work we need to continue to do, and we were also so very proud of them. And now I can tell you, there are many things happening across the district. 37R, Miss Montalvan School, they were having a great reading event where different people from the community came and participate and read for our children. There are many things happening everywhere in your own school. We want you to let us know, let people know so we can be there to support you. 721Q in Queens, next to the Queen Center Mall. If you go shopping one day, just stop by. I guarantee you, you're gonna be amazed by what is going on in that school as well. They hosted not only educators from Malaysia before, like 3 months ago, but last week on March 12, they hosted the Minister of Labor of Iceland. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, they were so impressed with the school, the way we're engaging our students, the support that our paraprofessionals are providing, the whole climate and culture there, and they want to come back with more people and visit again. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you tonight that we are perfect in District 75. I've never claimed that, but I will tell you, we are giving it our best shot, and we will continue to do so until our last day in this district, because our students deserve the best, and we want to give them the best. We don't want to do this work in silo. We want you to come in and give us your feedback. That's why your visit and Co-President Angel, whenever you send us that list, we will start acting on it immediately. So we need your feedback, because as parents, you know what your children need. We only working for you. So if you don't hold our feet to the fire, then hey, that's on you here. So we want you to come in, tell us where we need to go next. What are we doing well? What do we need to improve on? Let's continue to do this work together, and let's continue to partner, because listen, together we are a majority, and together we can continue to make a difference in our children's life. And that's why I am so happy every time I get a chance to speak to you and to let you know about the progress that we are seeing with our students in District 75. So now I have the pleasure to transition the presentation to our Deputy Superintendent here tonight with us, Deputy Superintendent Kleinberg. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Louison, and thank you all of you for hosting our evening here together tonight. We in the city are getting ready for our testing period for the variety of assessments that our students participate in, whether they are engaging in alternate or standardized assessments within New York City. The New York State alternate assessment period began on March 11th and continues through June 7th. So that is an ongoing rolling assessment where students will engage one-on-one with their teacher if they're in the eligible grade ranges to look at the standards that are applicable to their grade level and to see how they're progressing. For students that do participate in the state assessments, in the standardized state assessments, we are coming close to assessment period. The first assessment will be the New York State grades 3 through 8 English Language Arts Assessment that launches in April 11th through 12th will be the first dates. And we have the continuation of the 3 through 8 testing period for students participating in standardized assessment going through May 15th and 17th for the grades 5 through 8 science tests. So more to come for those applicable assessments for any of your students that will be participating, and your school will be in touch with you for any information regarding that. Superintendent Louisant had mentioned New York City Reads, which we continue to be so excited about within our schools. We are seeing amazing literacy learning opportunities for our students, and reading and writing and speaking and listening are continuing to permeate across our schools. In addition to the 22 school organizations plus home and hospital programs that were participating this year in phase 1 of HMH into reading implementation in some of our K-5 classrooms. Next year for phase 2, we will have all of the rest of our K-5 schools participating. So schools are getting the training underway now, and they're building momentum based on what's happened this year to get ready for the next phase next year. And we're so excited to see the continued literacy development of what's happening in our classrooms for all of our students with the exciting and creative ways that curriculum is being implemented. Thank you, Co-President Angel, for uplifting one of our upcoming next literacy learning events in the district. Our annual high school poetry event, as you noted, is happening on April 4th at Baruch College. And it is a phenomenal event. It's an opportunity for our students as poets to uplift their voices, to share their advocacy, to share their hopes and dreams. And it is truly a beautiful event that we so look forward to our parent leaders joining us for at Baruch College on April 4th. We also will be celebrating our literacy learners on May 14th and 15th at P94M for our elementary and middle school spelling bees. These are exciting events within our schools. All of our schools have been engaging in their local spelling bees at the school level to identify representatives for schools that will be participating to join in the citywide District 75 spelling bees. So please come out and support our amazing spellers in May. We'll make sure that you continue to get flyers and information as these events come closer. But again, we are just so thrilled to be able to continue to celebrate the amazing things that are happening in literacy across our schools. I'm going to turn the mic over to my co-deputy, Dr. Hoggard, for some additional updates. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Superintendent Kleinberg. Good evening, Co-President Angel, Co-President Daniels, Council. It is always a pleasure to share this space with you, and we continue to thank you for your partnership. We continue to emphasize the importance of student attendance and ask for your continued support with messaging this priority. To date, District 75 attendance is at 81.5%. So as a district, we're going to continue to make outreach. We're going to continue to reach out to schools, reach out to families, and really push our student attendance. And we ask and we thank you for your continued support around our student attendance. In partnership with the D75 Office of Transition Services, D75 Arts and Museum Access Consortium, we have developed the Cultural Career Courses. This program is designed to introduce students to career in the arts and provide them with job readiness classes related to careers at art organizations and cultural institutions. The Cultural Career Course is a virtual program consisting of 16 weeks of career readiness classes and career exploration from February 2024 to June 2024, with 2 in-person field trips to cultural organizations to observe and discuss careers. This year, 26 students were accepted into the program. At this time, I'm going to pass it over to Deputy Superintendent Kleinberg.
Thank you. So in other art news across the district, we are so thrilled to have at Positive Exposure Gallery on East 109th Street, Art 75 up and running and on display from March 6th until April 8th. This is an annual art exhibit. We have a phenomenal partnership with Positive Exposure, and they work very closely with our dynamic director of the arts, Amanda McPhee. And this is a showcase of student talent and voice. It's an amazing platform for them to express themselves and also to celebrate human diversity. And this year, we are so proud that there are 60 pieces of student artwork on display in the gallery. It's absolutely beautiful. If you are able to make your way to Positive Exposure, it is on display Monday through Friday through April 8th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. On March 9th, there was a family and community celebration with over 180 families and friends that came to join the celebration. It was amazing to be in a space with our student artists that were so eloquent in the way that they spoke about their artwork and their future as artists. We also were able to enjoy the amazing music of the student band Friends in Frequency from 373K. It was truly an unbelievable celebration, and we do encourage you to go and see this beautiful professional gallery display at Positive Exposure. I do also want to remind all of our families that Summer Rising registration remains open for applications through Monday, March 25th in my schools. We are going to be sending another round of flyers home with students tomorrow and posting the flyer on Remind. I do have some for those of you that are here. It's at the meeting to hand out tonight as well. But you will be getting that information with your student tomorrow. There are seats in programs in various locations across the city. I know that question was asked earlier in terms of what this means for our District 75 students. Our students are invited to participate in any of the locations that are designated on the registration form. So you will see those locations available, and all of those locations that are available to our students will be supported by the appropriate staffing and supports to make sure that our students have a wonderful experience alongside the CBO and the District 1 through 32 peers that will be participating with them. So we do encourage you to look at the application on My Schools and reach out to your parent coordinators if you have any questions about applications. I am going to pass the mic now to Ray. If Ray, you're available to give us the family engagement updates.
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone. Give me one moment here just to find my notes that were carefully taken in our office to share. And please forgive me if I repeat some of the things that have been already said tonight, because I realize Ms. Angel had a lot to share that might duplicate some of my stuff, and so did the superintendent. So just bear with me, and I'll read through my notes quickly to return you back to your activities. First thing, spring into NICSA. NICSA members have been, numbers have been maintained at about 64%. Actually, that number has increased since we wrote this, of our families with activated accounts. We continue to encourage schools to support families with activating their accounts. We encourage PAs and PTAs to assist us with encouraging families to sign up for NICSA. By the way, NICSA, and I'm sorry, I keep forgetting, I shouldn't speak in acronyms, is a New York City Schools account. The New York City Schools account. So the parents interested in tracking the new bus app via, that is one way that that NICSA counts, because you need a NICSA account or a New York City Schools account to be able to activate your VIA app. And the VIA app is growing in numbers and usage as well, so please don't miss out on that. In collaboration with MBK, my brother's keeper, which we spoke about before, and the superintendent also mentioned my sister's keeper, District 75 will be hosting a father's group and the mother's group on April 13th. This session will be in person at the district office. In addition to activities and discussions, Jesse Mojica, Deputy Executive Director of FACE, the Family and Community Engagement Office, will be sharing his journey with his son, Adam. Registration will be limited. In collaboration with Include NYC and MBK, my brother's keeper, District 75 will be hosting 2 virtual workshops for families, entitled The Top 5 Rights in Special Education on April 4th from 10 to 11 a.m. and Introduction to Transition Planning on April 8th from 10 to 11 a.m. The first ever D75 Parent Leadership and Empowerment Forum took place on February 28th. And once again, to reiterate, we had over 200 District 75 administrators, parent coordinators, parent leaders, all in attendance at the Baruch Conference Room. It was full of inspiring conversation and teamwork, and we look forward to seeing the action plans in motion. On March 26th, we have invited all the elected D75, D1 through 32 CEC representatives to join us for a virtual informational session to learn about D75 and the staff who can support them as they fulfill their respective CEC duties. And as we do every spring, we will be supporting parent association elections throughout District 75. We will be reminding parent associations to set their dates and provide those dates to school principals as per Chancellor's regulations by April 1st. So please help us remind our parent leaders and our parent associations that by April 1st, we should be notifying our principal of the planned election date. We encourage parent associations to please start the election process in timely fashion to ensure parent leadership elections are successful. These elections include fulfilling any needed SLT vacancies in the schools. By now, if parent associations haven't already, they should have their 3rd quarterly meeting with principals. Possible topics of discussion may include plans for upcoming elections, review of past and upcoming fundraisers, financial successes, and effectiveness. For May, parent associations should start creating the new annual budget plan for next year's fundraising activities. So these are very important, and we hope that the council here will help support that work that the parent association should be doing in the schools. And finally, PCs will be asked to collect dates and times for any request for support with the expedited elections if needed. We hope that it doesn't come to that elections are filled appropriately as per Chancellor's regs. But if expedited elections are needed, the family leadership coordinator, that's me, We'll review and provide support where needed, and it is encouraged that we complete all elections before the end of school year. And that's my final sentence on my report. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mojica. Is there anyone else from the district who will be speaking on tonight? If not, I do want to open up the floor really quickly to council members. If you have any questions for the district in anything that was presented on tonight. Hearing none, and still leaving room if you do have questions, we will move forward to the questions in the chat and open the floor up for the parents. Co-President Daniel, do you want to lead the charge on the questions in the chat? If not, I will go ahead and, oh, go ahead, go ahead. No worries.
So the question in the chat was actually by Council Member Brisa. Does she want to say it herself? Or do I have to say it?
Either or is fine.
Brisa's gone. She left already.
If you can read the question, Co-President Daniels, that'll be fine.
All right, so that means for the record, 2 council members left.
We aren't voting any longer, so quorum is no longer necessary. We'll be wrapping up shortly.
Okay, no problem. Just wanted to note that. All right, let me go in the chat for the question.
I can jump in on the first one for you. Brisa did say, I saw one summer rising for my son in the Bronx. Would someone else who is in the Bronx confirm this? Is there only one location for the Bronx for summer rising? Dr. Hogarth, would you be able to speak to that? Or would anyone from the district be able to speak to that? Don't want to put anyone on the spot. Or is this something that we may be able to get, if we can't answer tonight, we can possibly get before end of day tomorrow for the parent?
Yeah, we'll have to get back to you on this.
Co-President Daniel, go ahead, Minnie.
I thought Shelley was saying something. Shelley, were you saying something?
Oh, no, Minnie, feel free to go ahead. I was just going to say that the options that are available in each borough are going to be on the menu on My Schools. In terms of the exact number per borough, that's not information that we have at our fingertips as we speak now, but we can help anybody that's going on to My Schools to help to navigate the system, as can your parent coordinators at your school, to help you to access all of the options that are available within your borough.
Would we be able to get a list of all the options at some point, or is that just too expansive?
It's online, Christy. It's online. I'll send you the link. The
Thank you
issue
so much.
isn't that there aren't options. The issue is there is not one District 75 school program on Staten Island. Why is that? Does anyone have any answers?
So the programs that are accessible for Summer Rising are in affiliation with the CBOs that are going to be working in our community schools. We are going to have our District 75 students included in the programs within all of those locations, the locations that show up on the drop-down menu and the locations that are available. We're going to be working with the CBOs directly and making sure that we have all of the accommodations and accessibility needs in place for all of our students to ensure that it's going to be an appropriate opportunity for all students to be able to engage together in the Summer Rising programs.
Will we be able to have Vice President Montalban follow up with you with that? Because I know we've actually done some work physically at schools in Staten Island, and there were a lot of really great community-based organizations. Just in case we may be missing anything, if we can kind of support you guys, collaborate on any end. I know that Vice President Montalban and the rest of us who are able to help will be able to assist in any possible way, if that's even an option. So thank you for that.
And I know Miss Montalvan, I know this was an option last year. You know, we had some District 75 site, but like Deputy Superintendent Kleinberg just said. Now they want to, you know, like afford our student opportunity to be with their general education peers. But this is a question, a good point you have brought up and made. And I think Co-President Angel is right. We need to have, you know, a follow-up with you, and that's something we will ask our team that is, you know, supporting with summarizing, reach out to you personally.
Thank you so much. I do not see any other questions in the chat. I do see one other parent stated.
I have question about the same exact thing. I'm from Miss Montalvan's school, PS 37R in Staten Island, and last year my son enjoyed tremendously the experience after chapter 683 of the Summer Rising. It was a beautiful experience, but due to his disability, I don't feel that he can be adequately and safely maintained by a CBO, because typically they have high school children and maybe college students running that. And my son's disability, he requires the specialized staff such as District 75. When they offered it at PS 37 last summer, we have this specialized nursing staff, this specialized staff that knows how to position, how to maintain, you know, the special braces that some of our children wear, how to lift. Certain children need to be lifted. Certain children have communication and behavioral issues, medical issues. So I want him to experience that because it was so much fun, and he's a little boy and he deserves to have fun, but I need him to be safe, and just also concerned. So I will love for you to look further into that so that our children can enjoy as well. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, and you're making such a valid point, and we fully understand your position. This is something we will escalate to central offices because they are managing Summer Rising. We will share this need with them, but the decision will remain theirs to make. But we will absolutely push it up on your behalf because we understand where you're coming from. There is no other match in, you know, having your own people that know your child and to support them. And I certainly agree with you, but as you know, the decision is not solely made within this forum, so we have to escalate it and hoping that they will be able to support.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So much. Thank you.
We do have a question from Co-President Daniels.
It's not really a question, it's more like a comment. When I was on CPAC last year, we discussed a lot about Summer Rising and all the problems that it had in general, even in the regular districts 1 through 32. Just that District 75, some of the situations with our kids is like, if your child is not really high functioning, like the CBO is not going to want your child in that program. And a lot of parents came to me with that last year because their kids were not high functioning, they were not inclusion students, and they were not able to get in the program for that reason, as well as a lack of seats also.
Yeah.
What the New York City Public School has done, they have, you know, invested time to really engage the CBOs about our students. They have gone to training workshop to let them know about our student needs. I do understand where you're coming from. We're not saying this will ever be enough because we know our children. We know our patient. We can be with them. Our understanding, we can be with them. So I certainly understand where every one of you is coming from. That's why we promise you that tomorrow we will speak with Patricia Klebanov, and I guarantee you she will be sharing this feedback with our central partners. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any further questions in the chat or parents who would like any questions? Yes, we do. Councilmember Montalvan, Vice President, says, can you please share the flyers for the mother and the father's groups? And then one of our District 75 representatives said, what is the plan, the district plans to remedy the lack of available seats for students transitioning from middle to high school? And what is the placement office doing about this? Principals are advising parents to not recommend certain sites in certain schools due to the increase of age requirements to the transition from 21 to 22. Can the district expand on this, please?
Absolutely. We have been really, we have been on top of our high school needs. And we have, as if I know you just had a budget presentation, our projections are done around March and April, and we have secured the amount of seat that we needed for our student articulating from middle school to high school. Case in point, in the Bronx, for example, we have seen growth in the number of our projection numbers. That's why we are opening a new school in the Bronx. We have had similar school in other boroughs, but we have worked with space planning and district planning and have been we have received the number of seats that we need. I know that there has been an increased demand for seat because now we can keep our students beyond 21. But I will tell you, we have been able to accommodate that and manage that well. For example, on Staten Island, we have a site that we're gonna use to accommodate the need for high school seat on Staten Island. And in different boroughs, we are making different decisions. I am not supporting any principle that will advise parents to not recommend certain site because all of our sites supposed to be coherent. The level and the quality of education should not differ from one side to the next. We want our school to be uniformly providing instruction in the same measure at any given site. And so far, we have sent our projection numbers for high school need to space planning, and I am not aware of any lack of seat in any district. So, Ms. Powell, if there is maybe something specific you and I can discuss, I will leave my cell again with you, 516-728-2695. You can reach out to me and then I can speak with the Office of Enrollment. As you know, placement has transitioned from District 75 to the Office of Enrollment, but we work in partnership and full collaboration to make sure our need for space is satisfied and is honored.
Thank you so much. Do we have any additional questions or concerns from any parents, council members in the chat? let's see, beginning of the school year, my child was placed in one school, went on first day of school only to find out his school was changed and I was never informed. I think every parent has the right to know or be informed of any change. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Priscilla Oyedewe. We will make sure that we note this and make sure that we continue to move forward with your feedback and the others in response. We do want to make sure that you know that you are heard and that we will try to move forward in some capacity specifically toward you and other parents to make sure that you do not feel that you are not involved, informed, or a part of the process that has to do with your child. Do we have any further feedback from the district, council members, or parent members? If not, we will try to round out our meeting. Our treasury report in brief, we do have $12,340 left in our member reimbursements. We've currently used $3,860. I want to implore you guys, you do a lot of work, you do a lot of traveling, let's get reimbursed. If you need any level of help with the forms, of course, Haylene is there, we are here. Please just reach out to us so that we can assist you in that manner. Our P card line did have $2,000. At this point, we are at $1,680. Thank you, Haylene, for sharing. So we're at $1,680 with the P card. For our office supplies, we have $159 left. We have committed $691. All of our equipment is already accounted for. We have recently done the purchase orders. Thank everyone in that regard for our end of the year event, which was $2,750. Next time, we may be a little bit better about grabbing the ends of the money to make sure we can spend every dollar that we have appropriately. The $1,200 has gone to our annual report writer, and we do want to lift up Dr. Burton and expressly thank her for being willing to work, because we're going to be honest, this is extremely under budget to ask someone to complete an annual report, but her care is toward making sure that our students and parents are represented and getting the report done. So she is back again to make sure that we can accomplish what needs to be done. As far as the conference fees, only $61 has come out. So we have $439. If any member wants to pay to go to a conference, show up anywhere where you may get formally educated outside of our council, please do bring your receipts, etc. We can go ahead and put this against our conference registration fees or anything that may uplift you to learn more. With that being said, we have spent $14,069 in our budget, and that brings us to task for our budget. Are there any questions or concerns currently in regard to the budget? If not, we have gone through our committee reports. We did remind you guys, we do want to make sure that you get your reimbursements. If you have any questions or concerns, please let us know. If there is any unfinished business or new business that council members would like to lift up, please let us know. Seeing no hands and wanting to give you your time back, I thank everyone for this meeting. Thank you for the information. Thank you for standing in support of District 75. At this time, we will relieve. Before we relieve, do our translators have any parents with questions? Forgive me for not asking. Hearing and seeing none, we will.
No questions on the Spanish line, sorry.
Okay, no worries.
No question from Mandarin either.
Thank you so much. We will relieve our interpreters at 8:44 p.m. And if everyone is of sound mind and hearts, we will go ahead and adjourn our meeting for tonight at 8:44 p.m. Thank you all for your attendance tonight, for being present. If there's any further consideration or concern, please do email District 75 council@schools.nyc.gov. Have an amazing night. Everyone, please do get home carefully and safely. Thank you.